In this video, I'll show you a little-known variation of the Sicilian defense, a line that can surprise many opponents and help you win more games with the black pieces. This isn't a full course, so I'll focus only on the key ideas. We won't cover the anti-Sicilians here, only how to face the open variation. If you like what you see, I encourage you to study it further on your own. Alright, let's get straight to the point. It begins with e4, c5, Sicilian defense, knight f3, e6, d4, c takes d4, knight takes d4, bishop c5. This variation is known as the Paulsen-Basman Defense. With this, we immediately attack the white knight. From here, white has three possible responses. One is knight to b3, another is bishop to e3, and finally knight to c3. Let's look at each of them. First, let's examine the move knight b3. White attacks our bishop. What will we play? We will play bishop b6. With this, we keep the bishop controlling the long diagonal, aiming at f2. Our standard plan is to continue with knight to e7, short castle, and f5. A quick side note, don't forget to support this video with a like and a comment. That really helps the channel, as it tells the algorithm to recommend these videos to more and more people. Thank you for your support. Okay, let's continue with this mini study. After our last move, white plays knight c3, the most common choice. White could also try another move, such as queen g4, attacking the g7 pawn. But here we have a rather tricky reply. Knight f6, an excellent move. We attack the queen and invite white to capture on g7. After queen takes g7, we respond with rook g8, attacking the queen. Then queen h6, and now a fantastic move. Bishop takes f2 check. With this, we regain the pawn with interest, since the white king loses the right to castle. The best moves for white here are king e2 or king f2. Obviously, it would be a bad idea for white to play king takes f2, because of knight g for check, and the white queen is trapped. Let's get back to the main variation. As I said, knight c3 was played by white. Black responds with knight e7. We continue with our plan. Bishop f4, whose idea is to place the bishop on d6. Another frequently used option for white is to play bishop d3, and this continues as follows. Castle kingside, f5, and now if bishop d2, then f4, advancing on the kingside. The most common move for white is e takes f5, knight takes f5, followed by d5, knight c6, etc. Black is okay. Let's return to the main variation. As I mentioned, bishop f4 is white's first option, and now we will play d5, the correct move to prevent the opponent's idea by placing the bishop on d6. Now if white plays queen f3, we will respond with knight to c6, and after white castles long, we will reply with pawn to d4. In other words, we would always be in a good position. Therefore, the most common move to see in this position is e takes d5, and now knight takes d5. We simplified the position. Knight takes d5, e takes d5, followed by castle kingside, knight c6, bishop e6, and so on, giving black an excellent position. Okay, let's look at the second most common reply by white in this variation. e4, c5, Sicilian defense, knight f3, e6, d4, c takes d4, knight takes d4, bishop c5, our tricky move, and now white plays bishop e3. Now what will we play? We will play queen b6. We are not only putting pressure on the knight on d4, but also on the pawn on b2. In addition, we can continue with knight to c6. The best move for white is knight a3, giving up the b2 pawn, but this is a trap white hopes we will fall into. In addition, the idea behind playing knight to a3 is that it heads toward c4, where it would attack our queen. Other options instead of this move are clearly inferior. If c3, then knight c6. Obviously not queen takes b2, because of knight d2, followed by knight b5, rook b1, and so on. We would be in trouble. So, as I said, knight c6 was played by black. Knight d2, knight takes d4, Of course not queen takes b2, because of knight b5, threatening knight c7 check. Bishop takes e3, f takes e3, followed by knight c7 check, rook b1, and so on. White is winning. Okay, let's return to the best move. As I mentioned, we played knight takes d4. Knight c4, attacking the queen. Queen c6. Bishop takes d4. Queen takes e4. Check. Bishop e2. Bishop e7. Castle kingside. A bad idea here is to play bishop takes g7, because of queen takes g2. Bishop takes h8. Queen takes h1 check. King d2. Queen takes h2, followed by queen takes f2, or queen f4, knight f6, or knight h6, and so on. Black would have a slight advantage. So, for that reason, it's much better to castle. And now we're going to play knight f6, followed by castle kingside, d6, and so on. Black is okay. Another option for white is to play b3 on move 6, but this is not good because of knight c6, attacking the poor knight on d4 with 3 pieces. c3, if knight takes c6, this is worse because of bishop takes e3. F takes e3, queen takes e3 check, followed by d takes c6, and black is winning. For this reason, as I mentioned, the best move for white is c3. We will play knight f6, attacking the e4 pawn. Queen d3, and now d5, followed by bishop d7, and black is better. Let's get back to the main variation. As I said, knight a3 is the best move for white. We will play queen a5 check. Of course, a move like queen takes b2 is a bad idea due to knight ab5. And again, we would have a serious problems due to the threats of knight to c7 check and rook to b1. We would be losing. Okay, let's get back to the main variation. As I said, black played queen a5 check. White responds with bishop d2. In case of queen d2, then queen takes d2 check. King takes d2. Pawn to a6, preventing knight jumps to b5. Knight b3, attacking our bishop. Bishop takes e3 check. King takes e3. Knight f6, followed by king e7, d5, and so on. Black is okay. Alright. As I mentioned, bishop d2 is the principal move here. And now we play queen d8. The only correct move, since it prevents knight jumps to b5 that would gain time against our queen. Knight b3, attacking the bishop. Bishop takes a3. With this move, we cause damage to the opponent's pawn structure. B takes a3. Knight c6. Queen g4, attacking the g7 pawn. Queen f6, followed by knight ge7 and castle. Black would achieve an excellent position. As for our bishop, we can develop it to d7 or b7, depending on what the nature of the position dictates. Alright, let's take a look at white's third and final option against our tricky Sicilian. e4. c5, Sicilian defense. Knight f3. e6. d4. c takes d4. Knight takes d4. Bishop c5. Our tricky move. And now white plays knight c3, simply developing another piece. And now our next move is queen b6, attacking the knight on d4, and also the pawn on b2. Additionally, we exert strong pressure on the long diagonal. Now the best move for white is knight a4, attacking the bishop and the queen. There are 2 other options for white, but one of them is simply horrible. In case of knight ce2, a terrible move, we will respond to this with e5, attacking the knight on d4. Knight f5. Bishop takes f2 check. King d2. g6, attacking the knight again, and white must give up this piece, because if they retreat it by playing knight fg3, we will play queen e3, checkmate. Another option for white on move 6 is bishop e3. Now the best move for black is knight c6. Instead of this, a terrible idea would be to play queen takes b2, because of knight db5, followed by rook b1, knight c7 check, and so on. White is winning. So, as I mentioned, knight c6 is our best option, and now white has 3 possible moves. First, knight a4, attacking the bishop and the queen. Queen a5 check. c3, blocking the check, and also protecting the knight with the queen. Bishop takes d4. Bishop takes d4. Knight takes d4. Queen takes d4. e5, attacking the queen and preventing white from playing the pawn to e5. I say this because if black played the immediate knight f6, this dubious move would face e5, attacking the knight, and white would take the initiative. Let's return to our best move, which I said is e5. Queen b4. Queen takes b4. C takes b4. Knight f6, attacking the pawn on e4. And we could even soon play pawn to d5 if the white knight doesn't return quickly to c3. We would have an excellent position. Now let's look at another option white has on move 7, after our move knight c6. That move is knight takes c6, but this is a bad move because of bishop takes e3. F takes e3, and queen takes e3 check, followed by b takes c6. Black is winning. For that reason, the best move for white on move 7 is knight db5. This is a quite interesting move. White allows their pawns on e3 to be doubled in exchange for bringing their knight to d6. This continues with bishop takes e3. And now the correct move is f takes e3, but black is still fine after queen takes e3 check. Bishop e2. Rook b8, preventing a knight fork on c7 and preparing to play knight g7. And if white now plays knight d6 check, after king f8, we would have a slight advantage. We would continue with knight f6, pawn to a6, then play b5, and so on. On the other hand, it would be a terrible idea to play, instead of king f8, something like king e7 attacking the knight. Due to the unexpected reply knight f5 check, an excellent move, and after e takes f5, the game ends after knight d5 check, and on the next move the black queen will be lost. White can end up in an even worse position if on move 8 they play knight d6 check. We have the advantage after king e7, knight f5 check. A tricky move, since if we capture the knight on f5, white will play knight d5 check, trapping our queen. For that reason, we will play king f8, defending the g7 pawn. Knight takes e3. Queen takes b2, attacking the knight on c3. Knight b5. Queen b for check. c3. Queen takes e4, winning a second pawn. Queen d6 check. Knight g e7, and our plan would be to continue with queen e5, proposing an exchange of queens. And if white now plays something like knight c7, attacking the rook, we will play rook b8, followed by queen e5, b6, and bishop e7. Black is winning. Okay, let's return to the main variation of this chapter, in which I mentioned that the best move for white on their sixth move is knight a4. Here we will play queen a5 check, attacking the knight. c3, not only blocking the check, but also threatening b4, attacking our bishop and queen. Now, there is a draw line by threefold repetition if white plays, instead of this, the move knight c3, queen b6. Once again, we put pressure on the knight on d4. Knight a4, simultaneously attacking our bishop and our queen. Queen a5 check, knight c3, queen b6, and a draw by threefold repetition. This is important to clarify, because if we move the queen anywhere other than b6, we would end up worse, as that would give white time to consolidate their position with moves like bishop d2, knight b3, queen g4, and so on. So there is only one line in this tricky Sicilian that doesn't allow us to play for a win, and it's this one. Back to the main variation. As I said, c3 is the best move for white. Bishop takes d4. Queen takes d4, attacking the g7 pawn. It would be worse to play b4 due to queen takes a4, a spectacular response. Queen takes a4. Bishop takes c3 check, followed by bishop takes a1. And with that, we would have 3 pieces for the queen. In other words, we would have a clearly winning advantage. Let's return to the main variation. As I mentioned, queen takes d4 was played by white, and now black plays knight f6. We continue with our development. With this move, we keep an eye on the e4 pawn, and we are ready to follow up with knight c6, attacking the queen and putting her in trouble since she is defending the knight on a4. Knight c5, the best move. White is preparing to play queen d6. Note that another move like bishop d3 would be a serious mistake because knight c6, attacking the queen. Queen c4 and knight e5, attacking the bishop, queen, and knight. White is completely lost because they cannot cover all the threats. Let's get back to the main variation. As I mentioned, knight c5 was played by white, and now we will play queen c7, a good move. We are preventing queen d6, bishop g5, knight c6, attacking the queen, queen d2, in case of queen e3, then queen b6, pinning the knight, castle queenside, knight g4, attacking the queen again, queen e2, attacking our knight, but we are attacking white's knight. So we play queen takes c5, queen takes g4, and queen takes f2. We win a pawn, and will continue with kingside castling. We would obtain a healthy position. Okay, let's return to the main variation. As I said, white plays queen d2. We play queen e5, attacking the knight. Bishop takes f6. Queen takes f6. Castle queenside. And now we will play castle kingside, followed by rook d8, pawn to d5 or b6, followed by bishop b7, and black is okay. This concludes our mini study on this tricky Sicilian defense variation, which I'm sure will bring you many victories once you master it. On the other hand, don't forget what I said in the intro. You should study other lines on your own, especially the anti-Sicilians. Maybe in the future, I'll make a video teaching you how to play against other variations and the anti-Sicilians, but I'll only do that if this video gets a lot of views, likes, and comments. I hope you enjoyed the video and my analysis. Don't forget to support this video with a like, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, and share it with your friends. See you in the next video. Take care.